Hi guys, one of the people pushing hard for the DUP not to take up their seats in the Northern Ireland Assembly and allow the executive to restart was the TUV, the traditional Unionist voice party. Jim Allister, its leader, helped paint the DUP into the corner it finds itself today. Now, Jim holds no real power in the Assembly, but the DUP feared that he would steal support from them due to his more hardline approach to politics. Jim, like the DUP, campaigned for Brexit because they hoped it would put a border on the island of Ireland. They also didn't want Sinn Féin taking up the position of First Minister. Now, the DUP have been very quiet about this fact, but Jim here sort of lets the cat out of the bag.
Anyone who thinks that restarting the engine of Stormont with Sinn Féin at the wheel is the way to strengthen and maintain the Union is, I suggest, plainly wrong. Sinn Féin has never been in business of making Northern Ireland work. Its sole goal is the destruction of Northern Ireland within the United Kingdom, and it would and has used its position in government to weaken our position. And of course, with the protocol in place, they have the tools to do the job, because the protocol is about creating an all-Ireland economically. And if, for example, Sinn Féin was the economy minister, it would be their dream come true. Unionism, rather, needs to stand its ground. Stand the ground that was penciled out with the solemn declaration of all the Unionist leaders just 2 years ago. A position of unalterable rejection of the protocol and all its mechanisms. Why? Because the protocol is designed to dismantle the Union. And any going back to Stormont, while the protocol prevails with its Irish border, with Northern Ireland under EU law, with subject to a foreign customs code, will inevitably weaken and dismantle the Union. So now's the time to stand firm.
Stand firm. It's worked so well in the past, so it should work just as well in the future. Now, it seems things have come full circle, because as Jim was pointing out here, 2 years ago, the Unionist leaders came together and they said, we will reject the protocol. Well, it wasn't so much rejecting the protocol, it was, well, whether the DUP would go into government with Sinn Féin if Sinn Féin became the largest party. Now, it was easy for Jim Allister to sit on the sidelines and say, no unionist would sit in government with Sinn Féin if Sinn Féin became the largest party. Because obviously he would never have to do that, because he is a one-man band, basically. Like he doesn't have any real power. So he was attempting to put pressure on the DUP not to go into government with Sinn Féin if Sinn Féin became the largest party. And what happened at the elections? Sinn Féin became the largest party. So by right, they would be able to appoint the First Minister. And this put the DUP into a bit of a fix, because they had hinted that they would not go into government if Sinn Féin became the largest party. Sinn Féin became the largest party, and then they would be pulling the plug. This would be obviously anti-democratic. We lost, so we're going to take the ball and go home. Now, because of the rules, you need to have the two largest parties in government. So you have the largest party from the nationalist community and the largest party from the unionist community. That meant the DUP and Sinn Féin would be sitting in government together. But the DUP needed a get-out clause. So what did they do? They complained about the protocol, say, oh, we can't go into government because of the protocol. And they demanded the scrapping of the protocol. They demanded triggering Article 16 of the protocol. Then when eventually the Windsor Framework was put in place, they were complaining about that as well. They set 7 tests. None of them made any sense. But these were all attempts not to go into government with Sinn Féin, because Sinn Féin had become the largest party. Now, why? People are probably asking, well, what's the problem with Sinn Féin being the largest party? This demonstrates that the Union is coming to an end. Because for, 100 years, Unionists have been in charge. So it's on and off. Sinn Féin have become the largest party, or had the most seats. But generally, we're talking about Unionist rule for the last 100 years, more or less. And Sinn Féin becoming the largest party this time round demonstrated it's coming to an end. And Jim is pointing out some things that are somewhat true. A Sinn Féin finance minister would be much more interested in doing trade and working with the Republic of Ireland, of course, than a unionist one. Sinn Féin would be focused on a whole Ireland economy. That's true. And this would undermine the union. But this is democracy, Jim. If you want to be against this, then you need to go out and campaign. You need to win over hearts and minds of both unionists and nationalists if you believe your answer to all of this is the correct one. This is an angry man who campaigned for Brexit, hoping that it would put a border on the island of Ireland. He lost that bet. Now there's a border in the Irish Sea, and he has no control over that. So he's been attempting to manipulate the DUP and convince them not to go into government with Sinn Féin, and this would somehow defend the union, protect the union. But instead, what it's doing is it's undermining the union because it's showing that Northern Ireland doesn't work. Ordinary people who are not on massive salaries need to rely on public services, and these public services are not available at the moment. People are struggling. People have lost their jobs. Communities are suffering as a direct result of the executive not up and running. Sinn Féin, the SDLP, the Alliance Party, even the Ulster Unionist Party want the executive up and running. It's the DUP and the TUV who are on the sidelines. So whatever power Jim had is gone, and it seems to be he's going to be in a weaker position. But I presume he's going to continue to attack from the sidelines. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.